Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is another beautiful day to be in the cryptocurrency space. I'm sure you're all looking at your portfolios and are very happy with some of the price action that we are seeing. And we've been very zealous about keeping you on the bigger trajectory of this space, certainly in regards to this bull market, the bigger trend technically that we've identified, and keeping people away from short-term trading and short-term kind of FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt that gets propagated because it's popular. Fear sells, guys, on the likes of Twitter or X and YouTube and things like this. People were calling for crashes, and of course the exact opposite is that has been true. And that's because people aren't taking into consideration the trend that we are now in. Broadly for Bitcoin, for the space as a whole through the lens of totals, altcoins are in these sensational positions, very much some of them broken out into phase 2 or coming to that conclusion or started that journey. So we really try and keep people focused on the bigger trajectory and keep you away from trading. 99% of you, if you try to trade, will fail epically and you'll just lose money. I don't believe you should even do it. I think you should just invest in what is an amazing opportunity, a true technological revolution, and reap the rewards of that. And that is not financial advice, just my own opinion, of course. And you need to take responsibility for your own actions. I see people, certainly in times of downside, looking for other people to blame. If that is the kind of man or woman that you are, there's no help for you, I'm afraid. You need to be responsible for your own actions. But we've got some huge news to share. Yesterday, we covered the possibilities of a Litecoin ETF. And we were just waiting for the 19B4 filing to actually now start the clock and to kind of initiate all of this. And we hadn't had that. James Seyfarth was saying, look, it's likely, although we haven't had it. So was Eric Balanchunas. And yesterday, after, of course, we made the daily market update, Litecoin ETF now has all the boxes checked. The first altcoin ETF of 2025 is about to be on the clock. I don't see any reasons why this would be withdrawn, either given the SEC gave comments on the S1. Litecoin is seen as a commodity, and there's a new SEC sheriff in town. Of course, this is the filing. This is huge news. This kicks off the floodgates opening for altcoins more broadly. Hedera's likely next. I think we're going to see some news on that very shortly, by the way, guys. Of course, technically, we've been following that. Hedera's my largest position. It's only just got larger and larger. It makes up a real good chunk of my portfolio, and I'm happy to have that there. If you do want to become a Patreon, guys, now's the time. Got a group of people that are in the right coins, capitalizing and make the most bang for their buck on this bull market. We're not shilling tiny little coins or telling you guys to trade or anything like that. We're ultimately looking for investment opportunities, or what I believe are investment opportunities, in what is a expanding space. And a big part of that is the ETFs. This kicks off the race now. You're going to see multiple ETFs this year, ladies and gentlemen. The floodgates are being broken down. You're going to see this space likely swell up into the, what are we in terms of a market cap today? 3 trillion something? Probably tens of trillions. Certainly when we look at the total twos, we have or the totals, total 2s, total 3s, others, we have a lot of technical targets that are ultimately taking us into the tens of trillions. And things like Bitcoin dominance, which we're going to talk about because Bitcoin dominance is on the verge of collapsing, in my opinion. Wherever you look, when it walketh, talketh, and quacketh like a duck, when you look at this space, guys, it's a duck, it's a very fruitful space. But this is absolutely huge. First Litecoin, HBAR likely to follow, then XRP and Solana. Then you're going to see all kinds of products, basket products, etc., etc., etc. And that's when that pushed for being in the top percentile of cryptos via market cap, top 10, things like that. Just like you have the S&P 500, top 500 stocks, or the 100, US 100, top 100 stocks, you'll see a same thing coming with crypto. And then these are yet to even be adopted in the same way that stocks are by funds, family offices, institutions, etc., etc. That's all to come. And that just makes me unbelievably excited. And we're taking everyone on that journey with us. Or you guys are taking me on that journey with you as viewers of this channel. And we really support and love you for that. Very interesting news. Now, I've got a bit of a beef with Coinbase. I think Coinbase is a great exchange. However, they're being very overzealous, likely because they have to, in all fairness, in regards to their platform and people being able to use it freely like they once were. If you want to send, we set up a recent stake pool, and I wanted to send funds from Coinbase to a stake pool address, a ledger that we can essentially back up, or a multi-sig, essentially, I should say, that we can back up. They wanted me to verify that so they have that address locked in. Whereas me sending money to myself, it really should be none of their business. But they're kind of, I think, overstepping marks a little bit. But I guess this is mirroring what the traditional banking sector is, and people getting a little bit annoyed about this, like myself. You've got to realize, actually, if we're to become part of the traditional financial system, there's rules and regulations that come with that, and Coinbase ultimately have to follow. But this is huge. Bitcoin-backed loans are here. We'll talk about the broader ramifications for this. Borrow USDC against Bitcoin without selling it, rolling out to US users, except New York, obviously because of the SEC and the current administration. Now, more collateral assets and regions to come, powered by Morpho Labs. I'm unfamiliar with these guys. And built on Base. The future of finance is on chain. This is huge. This is absolutely huge. It takes less than a minute to get a loan. Get started on the Coinbase app. I don't think people realize how big this is. Try and get a loan traditionally. You got to go through all this rigmarole. You got to do this. You got to do that. Now you've got an asset. Bitcoin right now, but it's going to apply more broadly to the altcoin sector. So you guys have made millions on your altcoins. You can now borrow against it. And you could leverage up. There's dangers with doing that. Big dangers. I'm not suggesting anybody does that. But the strategies that can come out of this that we're going to be exploring. There's also real world implications. You want to buy a house, but you don't want to sell your Bitcoin. Well, you can now collateralize that, get the money for the house, buy the house, and you still hold your Bitcoin. And you're still going to be appreciating on both sides of things. Hopefully the house, because we're going to be in an ever increasingly inflationary environment. They're lowering the population, although in the UK they're kind of boosting it by all of these sort of things that we're seeing. We're not going to get into. Start having more kids, guys. On a side note, kids are good. You know, we want, you know, it's weird how we kind of pivoted away from having lots of children to few. But of course, I think that comes with the world that we're in. Anyway, bit of a different segment there, but this is huge. This has real broad ramifications. Bitcoin is the first one. I think we're going to see lots of appetite for this, but then you're actually going to see multiple other altcoins. There is downside. You know, people lever up and Bitcoin really does start to pull back, and you've got all these people levered up. There's going to be a lot of forced selling on the market. It also takes away some of the sell pressure that people might have to implement due to they've got expenses. Well, now they can, you know, just essentially borrow against their Bitcoin and they have the underlying asset. Providing it's going up, everything's A-okay. But this is huge, real broad ramifications. Let's talk about price. We warned everybody about this inverse head and shoulders that was all over Twitter. We said, look at the price. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times we've seen this. It all resulted in the upside, and the same thing is playing out again today. And failure to understand the bigger trend is costly, because if you're wrong, you've got altcoins that are 30, 40, 50, 60% up. And I know people that got out of that, out the markets, and then had to chase back up. They've now got 30, 40% less crypto. You want to be long and strong in a bull, out and square in a bear. And short if you know how to short. Again, we don't advise people trade, certainly with leverage. You're a ding-dong if you do that, and you're going to lose your money. You know, everybody wants to be a trader. Everyone's got this Wolf of Wall Street kind of vision in their head. Well, it's nothing like that, guys. I can promise you. They certainly wouldn't have been in any fit state to make any trades. They were salesmen, stockbrokers. They were just basically middlemen taking a cut. They're going to be eradicated. They weren't traders. Trading's a very serious, different game that most people lose money doing. So failure to understand the broader trend. This is a phase 2. It's going to continue. Bitcoin's only just broken out of its all-time highs. We've got lots of technical targets that see us continue to the upside. The total cryptocurrency market cap is looking sensational. The total 2's looking good. Total 3's looking good. Others looking good. We're on the cusp of breakouts into all-time highs. We put a toe above it. We've pulled back. We're likely going to see that continuation in the broader trend. And that, of course, is going to be the tide that rises and sinks all ships. We're looking at all the cryptos sort of correlated through the lens of total. ETPs look good. Miners look good. And, of course, Bitcoin dominance is, I believe, on the cusp of a major spill to the downside, kicking off potentially a broader pattern in the future that sees it go to 20%. But certainly on the short term, it's hanging very heavy. I think it's going to slip through this kind of grind line that it's been grinding up on, ultimately put in a new low and signal more of a downtrend. And of course, fundamentally, all the things coming with Trump, et cetera, could be the story that sees that come to fruition. Certainly, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of inflows we see on these ETFs. That's it from me, guys. I'm going to love and leave you all on that note. It's always an absolute pleasure. Really interesting things going on. Of course, we've got ETFs now coming and Litecoin really kicking that off with the Nasdaq listing. We've got Bitcoin loans on Coinbase. We've always said Coinbase is going to become the next bank. We've been long and strong Coinbase stock for a while now. Got a community of people that have done very well, multiple hundreds of % up on it. The train is really leaving the station. And when it comes to altcoins, when it comes to technically the crypto space, it looks great. When it comes to altcoins, they look superb. There's major opportunities out there. We're going to keep you informed on them. That's it from me, guys. I'm going to love and leave you. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you all in the next one.